All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. If you're here, go ahead and sound off in the comments section just so that I know that I'm not talking to a bunch of dead air, because that's always a possibility. Anyway, my name is Sam Healy. Welcome to the Flipside of Board Games. Today we're going to be doing a review of a prototype game. Now, I do live reviews here on the Flipside, and that's a little bit different. A lot of people are looking for edited reviews, and that's all well and good. What I try to do is I try to put timestamps into my live reviews after we finished streaming, so that people can still jump around like they would be able to in a normal edited review. But one of the reasons why I like doing live reviews here on the Flipside is because, well, it's a little bit different. We do things upside down and backwards here on the Flipside. And on top of that, it promotes a little bit more of a sense of community here on the channel, because you guys and gals can interact with me while I review the game. I keep an eye on the chat as I'm here with my trusty laptop, and so that's why we do live reviews here on the Flipside. Now, most of the time, those reviews are for published games, and that's what is probably normal. But every once in a while, we did another one for another prototype a little while ago, a couple weeks ago. But today we're doing a prototype review, and this was sent to me by Envy Born Games. I met them at Origins last year, and I picked up a couple of copies of their Mind Your Business, and I still haven't played it, which is really unfortunate because I watched it being demoed at Origins, and I really wanted to get it out, but it's like drinking from the fire hose around here sometimes, and sometimes games just fall by the wayside. It's right there, I can see it, I just haven't played it yet. But this came in, and Envy Born Games reached out to me and said, hey, would you mind doing a review of a prototype of a game that we're putting out? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. Now, we don't charge for reviews around here. That's just something that I don't do. I don't charge for reviews. So if they send me a copy of the game, whether it's a prototype or a produced copy, I will review the game when I can get to it. This one is a super fast, light, small game, so I was able to get it to the table a lot faster than I normally would. So that's generally what's going on here. We're doing a live review of a prototype copy of Confusing Lands, designed by Zach Eidsvoog, and going to be published by Envy Born Games. So with that, let's go ahead and say hello to everyone. Nuno is here, good to see you. Matthew Vincent is here. The Curious Box, Pedro is here. Portugal, very cool. Thank you for being here. And Kabuki Kid is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys. All right, so what... Now, another thing that we normally don't do, even on my weird Flipside live reviews, is we usually just review the game and we talk about the game. But I thought, because it's not going to take very long to show you this game, it is literally a micro game. And I call it that on purpose because this is what these are the cards that you get. This is the whole deck of cards. And I think there's 17, 18 cards maybe. That's from memory. Let me look at the rules. Yep, I was right. 18 cards. There's 18 cards in the deck. There is one pencil and there is one scoring pad, and that's it. Of course, you do have the rule book. So as you can see, it's a micro game. It's not going to take too long to actually talk about it, to actually review it, and all of that kind of stuff. So what I thought we would do is compare it to a couple of other tile/card placement games that I've played very recently, like within the last couple of weeks, and kind of compare and contrast some of the similarities and some of the differences. So we're going to be doing that as well. And then I'm going to basically, give my final thoughts and rating on it. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see here. Anybody else saying hello? Yep, just... nice. Another Tuga in the house. All right. So, got to take a drink of coffee. Spring is here. I spent a lot of time today doing yard work. Yay. But it's all good. It's a nice, beautiful day outside. I'm healthy enough to get out there and do it. So there's a lot of positives there, but it's yard work. You know what I'm saying? Mowing the lawn, doing the weed whacking, all that kind of stuff. I was able to get Strider out there and goof around with him. We usually don't let him in the backyard. So he actually got to go into the backyard a little bit. And it's funny because I don't think he's ever been on the side of the house in the backyard. He's been on the side of the house in our front yard, but in the backyard, he's never been on the side of the house. And it was like a whole new world. I mean, he was like sniffing. He was so excited. So that was kind of fun to watch. But that's that. All right, Snickers coffee today. No, this is my Freedom Roast from Black Rifle Coffee, and with some hazelnut, zero sugar creamer, and some zero sugar chocolate syrup in it. And that is that. It's my own little home concoction for a mocha. No, but it's just a regular old Freedom Roast from Black Rifle Coffee Company. Tuga equals Portuga. Funny way to say Portuguese. Yes, that is fine. No worries. 66 out here today. Not bad. Was warmer yesterday. I don't even know what the weather is like out there as far as temperature-wise. I can find out for you real quick. Temperature-wise, we are looking at 57 degrees. The high is going to be 59 today with a low of 35. And of course, the low happened, in the wee hours of the morning when the sun had not yet come up. But looks like that's going to be about the norm this week. Today, it's a high of 59, low of 35. Thursday, 57 and 41, 58 and 42, 68 and 43 on Saturday. 65 and 42 on Sunday, and then back down to the 50s and 30s on Monday. So it's starting to slightly warm up. It's all good to go. 45 here, way up in the Great White North, eh? Take off, Travis. All right. Well, thank you for being here, Travis. I appreciate you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Got to like 76 or something today, Kabuki Kid says. Snow is finally melting. Oh, buddy. Oh, man. Last year at this time, we still had snow on the ground. We actually got like 2 feet of snow around right before Easter, and then we had a super clear. It all melted by Easter weekend, and then right after Easter, we got a little more dusting, but that was about the end of it. Go For It Painting is here. Hello, hello. Good to see y'all. All right, well, let's get down to business and take a look at confusing lands. I'll go ahead and put it on the table shot here. So here we have, I've already kind of showed you everything that comes in the box. You got 18 cards here. Now, these cards are double-sided. So this is one side where you basically just have different types of lands that are out here. You have villages, you've got mountains, you've got predator spaces, you have open spaces, you also have these magical crystal spaces, you've got rivers, you also have prey spaces, you also have forest spaces, and all of this kind of stuff. So that's what you've got on one side of the card. On the other side of the cards, you have much of the same, but 2 of the spots on the card are a scoring. Let me see, what do they call it again? Scoring condition. Thank you very much, rule book. So you have a scoring condition. So for example, this scoring condition is going to have you score your longest continuous section of river, and you get 4 points for every river space that is in your longest connected river spaces. So that's what that one does. This one right here, you get 4 points for every crystal that is not in the same row or column or next to another crystal space. So that's a pretty cool scoring thing. Here you get 1 point for every mountain, forest, and village space in your completed land area. So you have a number of different kinds of scorings like that, and they're all on the other side of the cards. All right, so at the beginning of the game, what's going to happen here is you're going to set all of this stuff off to the side, and you're going to give a shuffle to the cards with the scoring conditions face down. Then you're going to turn one over. And this is going to be your shared goal for the game. So this one right here specifically says you're going to get 2 points per open section like this one right here in your largest section. All right, and that is contiguous. So your largest section is going to score 2 points per open areas in your lands. So that's what both of us are going to be doing. Then you're going to give 2 cards to one player and 2 cards to the other player. And then you're going to choose which card you want to start into your lands. Now, when you play a card into your land, you can play it either side. You can turn it either way you want to, but if you have a land out there that has a scoring condition on it, you cannot cover up a scoring condition, and you have to cover up at least 1 square of the land card that's already out there. So you can't cover up scoring conditions. You can't kind of like offset the cards like this. You have to line them up properly. And you have to cover at least 1 space. So maybe I would want to do something like that, or I could do just that right there. All right, so those are the conditions of placing. So maybe right now with this, I want to do something like that, because I'm going to go after this shared goal, and that gives me 3 good ones to start off with. Let's say that these people want to do the same thing and just go with that. Now, the other card that they played is going to be given to the other person. And now the other person gets to take this card and kind of put it in there however they wish. Maybe I want to do something like this. All right, so that's how I've placed my second card. They will place their second card. Let's see. This is, I believe that is have mountain spaces next to open areas. Number 3, barrier range for each mountain space on the border of your landscape. So you want to make sure that this is on the border of your landscape. So maybe we'll do something like this right here. Boom. Because now this is my largest area, and it's getting me 2, 4, 6, 8 points. So that's pretty good. This one over here is getting me 2, 4, 6, 8 points. But I'm also getting 3 points for this one because it's out here on the border of my land. Then we draw 2 cards each, and we continue doing that until each of us have exactly 8 cards in our lands. All right? Now, I'm not going to play all of that out, but because it'll take long, and I don't want to take that long to do it. But here's the thing. Every round, you play 1 card, and then the card that you don't play goes to your opponent. Same thing with me. I choose 1 card, give the other one to my opponent, and they have to play both of those. When you play it in, you can choose this side or this side. It doesn't matter. Now, the more scoring conditions that you have in your lands, the possibility for more ways to score points that you're going to have. But at the end of the game, you're going to score let me put this over here. You're going to score the shared scoring condition. Then you're going to score all the scoring conditions that you have in your land area. Then you're going to get a subtotal, but then you're going to get minus 10 points for every scoring condition that's in your land area, not including the shared objective. And then after that, you have a total. So if you have 3 scoring conditions in your land area, you're going to get minus 30 points. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to score more than 10 points on all of your scoring conditions so that you're going to have a positive score at the end of the game. And you're also trying to maximize the sharing shared scoring condition out here as well. So that's generally how the game plays. Now, I do want to show you this because it does have all of the different scoring conditions shown out here. Each of the scoring conditions, if you can see there, have a number at the very bottom of the scoring condition, and that relates to a number up here, and you basically have an explanation of what the iconography means on the card over here. But that's a really cool thing. There's also some key terms that you have to understand. Touching means that they are orthogonally adjacent. Near means that you are talking about the, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 squares that are around the space in question. Connected means that each space of a group is touching at least one space of that same group. So again, you're talking about both touching and being near when you are connected. A border, as we were talking about with this and over here, is just one that is on the outside border of your land. Flows into, if you have a, for example, this card right here, this river is flowing into, whereas this one right here is flowing by this mountain, but this one is flowing, this forest, but this is flowing into this mountain. So that's another one that you have to do, flowing into and flowing past. And then number of spaces from, you always have to choose the shortest distance, orthogonally speaking. But after that, you score the shared objective. You scored all of the other scoring objectives that you have in your land for each person. You subtract 10 points for every scoring condition that's in your land, and whoever has the most points at the end of that is the winner. That's Confusing Lands. Remember, there's only 18 cards in this deck, and you're going to be playing 2 cards every round, and you go until you have 8 cards in your land, so you're only talking about 4 rounds. That's how fast this game is. So you're talking about around 10, maybe 15 minutes if you're having to consult the rule book a lot for the explanation of the scoring conditions. All right, so that is the long and the short of it. So let's see here. We got 8 inches a couple days ago. Does JT have his own YouTube channel also? No, he does not, Joe Kobos. I hope JT and yourself do a live play of Divinus. We probably will. I cannot imagine not doing that. That's probably going to happen, but we do have to get some other things done before that, I imagine, but it's coming up. I know he's jazzed to play Divinus, and so am I. It looks like a very cool game, and it's got Norse mythology stuff in it, so I'm all in. Let's see here. Spurs fan is here. Hello, Lewis. Good to see you. Keep your eyes on the road, brother. All right, so that's basically it for Confusing Lands. I want to share some pros and cons. First of all, final thoughts before we get to pros and cons. It's a super fast game. My wife and I, Jesse and I, played 2 games of it in very quick succession yesterday, and we were pleasantly surprised. I usually don't know what to think about these micro games. Often I'm wanting a little bit more bang for my buck, so to speak. I want a little bit more oomph in the game, and usually these tiny micro games don't really give me a whole lot of interest because I just want more. I want something more to kind of sink my teeth into, whether it's theme, aesthetics, or mechanisms, or length of time even sometimes. I want a game sometimes to be a little bit longer so I have more time to enjoy it. So micro games are usually a hit or miss for me. But after we played this a couple of times, I was very pleasantly surprised with it because it mimics a couple of other games. Well, one in particular, I was like, this is the speed version of that game. Carcassonne. That was my initial thought, was this is speed Carcassonne. So if you like Carcassonne, you probably would enjoy this game because it'll scratch that same itch, if only for 10 or 15 minutes, but it still does. You're still constructing land, scoring points in different ways by constructing that land. So there's a lot of similarities. You're laying tiles in Carcassonne, you're laying cards in this game, but that was my initial impression of the game. It's basically speed Carcassonne with different ways to score. You're of course not going to be scoring farmers and all of that kind of stuff like you do in Carcassonne. There are basically, I believe there are 18 different scoring conditions in the game, one for each of the different cards. And which ones come out is different every game because you have to choose. Either you're going to play that scoring condition or you're not going to play that scoring condition, and you're going to build up one of your other the points that you're going to be getting from one of your other scoring conditions. That's a cool choice to make because you're foregoing one in order to score another or to bolster the score of another. I like that kind of tension. So that was our initial impression, Speed Carcassonne, right off the bat. Some of the pros and cons for it. The first pro is that it does play very quickly. And it's like capital V, capital E, capital R, capital Y. Very fast. You really have to kind of think on your toes with this one because you've got, you don't have to go fast, but it is kind of a fast game. You've only got one choice to make, front or back. Okay, two choices. Front or back, how do I want to orient it? Then you give the other card to the other person, take their card, and now you've got two choices to make. Front or back, and how do I want to orient it? It does not take a long time to play. And there's like very little downtime, like zero downtime. You're always looking at what you're playing. You're always looking at what your opponent's playing so that you can kind of make more micro decisions about, okay, I don't want to give them this card because it's really going to help them with that condition. Those kinds of things. But it plays really fast. But second pro, most fast games, you don't have a whole lot of decisions to make, and those decisions don't really feel meaningful. Well, you still don't have a whole lot of decisions to make, but the decisions that you are making feel very meaningful because they can have a huge impact on you. Okay, well, if I can't get that scoring condition done that I've already played, that's going to be minus 10 points for me. That's huge. So you want to make you have to make meaningful decisions because you need to stay away. You have to be really picky with the scoring conditions that you put down, being sure that you're going to be able to make positive points with that scoring condition. I like that. And it's different. When I first read, wait a minute, you want to put scoring conditions into your lands so that you can score points, but each scoring condition is going to score you negative 10 points at the end of the game. What the heck? It's because you have to maximize the points that you get from those scoring conditions so that you get positive points. I just like that. In a longer game, I probably wouldn't like that. But in a short game, that just is a drop in the bucket as far as how much time games take. I don't mind, and I actually like it. So that was a pro as well. So far the pros have been, it's a super fast game, so you can play it multiple times in the space of a filler game. All right, that's how fast this plays. A filler game takes 30-40 minutes, in my opinion, 20 to 40 minutes. Let's put it that way. So you can play this 3 times probably in the same time it takes you to play another filler game. So super fast, but you're making meaningful decisions. And my third pro of the game is that while it isn't fabulous artwork for how cheeky the style of the game is, and I don't mean cheeky in a bad way. It's a fun little game that doesn't take too long. The artwork works. And the artwork works well with the with the iconography that's used on the scoring conditions. Now, with that having been said, so those are my 3 pros. The one negative, the one con that I have, and I don't think it's going to be one that lasts forever, because as with any kind of game that has iconography, it's going to be a little bit hard on the upswing, right? And that's what we found last night. We were constantly looking at this page in the rulebook, these 4 quadrants of the rulebook, so that we had to constantly be rereading and rereading. The iconography was a little bit non-intuitive, but after we read it, it usually made sense. But because there's 18 of them, and we didn't have them memorized, so we had to continue going and reading them and reading and reading. So I guess since it's a prototype, the one thing that I would say, since this is a con, it's a small con, but I would say maybe work on the iconography of the scoring conditions a little bit. But really, it's not that huge of a deal, because at the end of the day, you're talking about a 10-minute game. So you can take a few minutes to just to read the explanations. It's not a huge deal. That's the one thing. As far as a rating is concerned, and I'll get to what everybody is saying here in just a few minutes. As far as a rating is concerned, my rating would be, for this kind of game, I have to provide that caveat, because if I give this, for example, if I give this 2 thumbs up, well, I also gave Path of Civilization 2 thumbs up. What's the difference? No. Okay, so yes, Path of Civilization got 2 thumbs up. But here's the thing. It's a completely different kind of game. So it's a different kind of 2 thumbs up. So as I provide that caveat, for this kind of filler micro game, being that I am not a filler micro game person, I am going to give this 2 thumbs up, because I really enjoyed it. And it was quick, and it was fast, and it was easy to teach, and it's over before you know it, but you want to play it again, because you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Let's go again. And that's how it went last night, and that's how I'm sure it will go with anybody else. I guess the only other downside is that it only plays with 2 players. I would have much rather, well, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen a game like this that has this kind of mechanism and with more than 2 players. I think that would be a blast. And I get that it's only a 2-player game. I get that it's a small box. It's only supposed to be 10 minutes and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted it to be able to play more players. I was kind of bummed that it only plays 2. But it is what it is. It's a neat 2-player game. It's a fun 2-player game. And it's one of those games that you can sneak in and not really even bat an eye with it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk to, is the prototype game going to Kickstarter or GameFound? I will pull up the email in just a minute. And a modern day Viking. Yes, there is a place for little games, though. There is, absolutely is. Sometimes I need brain dead games to detox from stress, but really doesn't need that size box. Could have been button shy size. Nah. Here's the thing. Could the scoring thing be smaller? Yes, it could have been smaller. For example, why is there 4 columns when it's only a 2-player game? So could it have been the same size as one of the cards? Absolutely. It absolutely could have been. So maybe that's something they can do when they actually start producing it. Since it's only a 2-player game, just make 2 columns and go with that. Or maybe they're planning on making it to be more players. I don't know. I don't think so, because everything on here says 2 players. So maybe the prototype is just 2 players. I don't know. Let's see here. Let's go to... look up my email here. Okay, let's see here. It's launching directly on their website. No crowdfunding for the game. And it doesn't look like he has a time of when it's going to go live. Okay. Here we go. Got the information for you. Confusing Lands launched on their website, mvboardgames.com, back in March. And the game is actually already in production, will be available for fulfillment in June. All right, so they are, so I guess you can pre-order it on mvboardgames.com, and it's going to be available in June of 2024, but there is not going to be crowdfunding. So there you go. And it's ready to go. I don't think, now I'm curious. Now I'm curious because I want to see. Let's see. $14.99. So $15 for the game. Let me see. And it's a pre-order, so that's how that is. There are a lot of other games. They have, oh wow, they've got Sirens. That's interesting. Sirens, Defrag, 16 Candies, and Confusing Lands. Those are all pre-orders, and then their other game, Mind Your Business, is on there as well. So you can check all of that stuff out and make your own decision. As far as this game is concerned, it plays very fun, and it's a very enjoyable game. So I can say 2 thumbs up on this without batting an eye. I think this is one of the games that I would enjoy taking to a game night, so that if, you know, we've got all the tables filled and games are running and somebody walks in flying solo, I can sit them down and take and play this with them along with something else. Now, I did say that we're going to compare Confusing Lands with a couple of other games that I've played recently that involve that, and we're gonna throw Cafe and another one. This is an older game from 2017 is the copyright date on it, at least. Samurai Gardener and Cafe. These are a couple of games that have a similar mechanism in that you are taking cards and you're laying them down in such a way where you're overlapping other areas of cards, and you can overlap like a minimum number of spaces on the cards, but you must overlap cards. You can't tuck them underneath or anything like that. And then you're also going to be scoring points at the end of the game. They're also shorter games. So there's a lot of similarities, although both of these are a little bit longer. They're probably around the 30 to 40 minute range, whereas Confusing Lands is only about 10 to 15 minutes. So, but I wanted to compare them because they share that similar mechanism, and they're not too far off as far as amount of time that they take up. Now, this one being the older one, is you may not have heard of it before, but this is a really cool game where you're basically building up your garden area in your home. You're putting in koi ponds. You're putting in rock pathways. You're putting in a bunch of different elements of your garden, and you get to score points if you get rows of the same element that are 3 spaces long or larger, up to 5. And then if you have one that's 6, it doesn't score you any points. So you want to you have to keep building different areas up, because once you reach 5, you've scored max points for that, and putting 6 on it doesn't do you any good anymore. But the cool thing about this one is that you have to score, there's 4 different elements, and you have to score all 4 elements before you can rescore another element in a game. So I thought that was a cool thing. And the way that you score points with the scoring conditions in Confusing Lands felt very similar to the scoring conditions in Samurai Gardener. So this is the reason why I just, this one immediately came to mind when I was talking about what games is Confusing Lands similar to. So if anything that I showed you with Confusing Lands kind of scratches your itch, take a look at Samurai Gardener as well. This is a good game. Now, Cafe is similar, but this is a multiplayer game. So is this one. This one actually goes from 2 to 5. This one goes from 2 to 4, I believe. Oh, let me see. Maybe it's also 5. Where is it? No, 1 to 4. So you can play this one solo as well. But anyway, got the box upside down on the back. Anyway, these are both multiplayer. This is just 2-player. So I guess 2-player is multiplayer. Pardon me. This one has similarities because the different lands that you're laying out in Confusing Lands reminds me of the different types of areas that you have to lay out here, as far as the roasting areas, the drying areas, and all of this kind of stuff. You have to lay those out, and you're also trying to connect those in Cafe as well. So, and then you also, if you you can cover up the cafes that you're supposed to deliver to that are going to score you points at the end of the game if you deliver everything they're asking for. You can cover them up here, but usually you don't want to. And that was a similarity where you can't cover up these scoring conditions when you're laying out your cards. So it was a tenuous connection, but I still felt that there was a similarity there because the cafes in this usually took up two areas on the card, and sometimes they were vertical, sometimes they were horizontal. So there was just a more of an aesthetic connection there than anything else, but still a similarity, right? Either one of these would be great for multiplayers. For just 2 players, I think Confusing Lands is a great alternative for if you just have 2 players. But unless they come out with rules for more than 2 players, a bigger box, more cards because you need it. If you like Confusing Lands but you have multiple players, these 2 are very similar to that. So there you have it. But as I said earlier, this felt to me like Speed Carcassonne. And I think for me, if you like Carcassonne, which I do, I think that's a pretty cool thing. And I consider that a pro of the game, not a con. I think sometimes Carcassonne can overstay its welcome because it's just, there's so many tiles, and if you're playing with a bunch of, some of the expansions, not even all of them, it can go even longer. So Carcassonne can overstay its welcome. I still enjoy it, but Confusing Lands feels like Speed Carcassonne to me, which I consider a pro. All right, let's go back to the things. So Bushman, Eric, I responded to your button shy size. I think, yeah, they could probably put it in a box that's a little bit smaller, maybe close to half the size, but they would have to change the size of the rule book and the size of the scoring sheet. But I think that might not be too hard if they just keep it 2 columns instead of 4. They could easily do that. But I see what you're saying. I don't disagree with it. Isn't it? But yeah, and then Kabuki Kid kind of, look at the size of this box. Are you really going to complain about the size of this box? I can almost hold it behind, I can hide it behind my hand. It's not like it's that big of a box. But I understand what you're saying. Won't fit in your pocket. Actually, yeah, it will. I'm going to go ahead. These are small pockets, and there you go. Fit right in my pocket, no problem at all. So in your face, Eric. I sense that we have a connection, Eric, that I normally wouldn't speak to people that way, but I sense a presence, something I've not felt since. Anyway, if a pocket is your goal, that is fair. It still fit in my pocket, and I got fat pants. Well, if you have fat pants, then you could probably fit this in your pocket, because I have fat pants and it fit in my pocket. I actually like the bigger box. I find that wallet games just disappear in drawers and get forgotten. Speaking of which, I usually carry around some of those, oh, not long pack games. What are they called? They're right over here. The Chris Handy games. What is it? Paco games. I usually carry these around, and I can't tell you how much I forget. I carry them around at conventions in my bag so that I have these small games if I want them, but I can't tell you how many times I forget that they're there. So there is something to be said about having boxes that are too small. I think this is not a bad size. But if they want to make a smaller box, I think this is where they would need to go and just cut off 2 of those columns. But here's the thing. We played 2 games last night, Jesse and I, and we only had to use 1 sheet off of the scoring page because we were able to use 2 columns on the first game, 2 columns on the second game. So there's always a silver lining there. Let's see here. How many total cards? 18? Enough to maybe stretch to 3 players? I don't think so, because you're going to be you're each going to play 8 cards into your thing, so that is 16 cards, and then you have 1 extra one that's going to be a shared goal. So there is that. You cannot stretch this into a 3-player game unless you just play to a fewer number of cards in your land, which I think would push it into the land of obscurity. So there you go. Maybe get one of those vinyl wallets like they use Button Shy line and toss it in a box to use when you want to be more portable. Unrelated to the game review, what does the grunt style t-shirt mean with the shamrock? It's the don't tread on me snake, but it has the Irish kind of colors on it. That's what that means. Did Sprawlopolis do the same thing with the negative points? I don't recall it. I've never played Sprawlopolis, so I'm sorry. Harry 1, Vanessa's here. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Better late than never is right. Since I missed the entire review, I have no opinion. Well, go back and watch it. Double speed. I'll talk like this. Very fast, very fast, very fast. How many total cards? 18 altogether. Buy 2, play up to 4. You could do that. You absolutely could do that. You could do that. That's a very good idea, actually. I didn't think about that, but you could literally do that. He actually, you can. His other game, Mind Your Business, I believe, is a 2-player game, and you have to buy 2 copies to play up to 4. But he does have rules for 4 players. I didn't see any in these. 16 candies sounds like a play on 16 candles. It could be. Just pass cards to the right or alternate. Yep. Samurai Gardener sounds like a John Belushi bit. It does, right? Samurai Delicatessen. I remember that one. That's very funny. Small card game I really enjoy is Hungry Monkey. Fun hand shedding games that play in about 15 minutes. Plays up to 6. Very cool. Nice to have options that play a lot of players sometimes. That is correct. And quick, yes. Barry's here. A gamer runs through. Missed the game. Can you muscle in other stuff like Kark? Can you muscle in on others' stuff like Kark? No, because you don't. You're building your 2 separate lands. You're not joining the 2 lands in any way, shape, or form. So I guess that's the difference. You're not building on the same map like you are in Carcassonne, but it still gave me that feeling of building up a map area And because you're doing your own, it's like it just felt like fast Carcassonne. But no, you can't muscle in on somebody else's territory. You are just building up your area. Your opponent is building up their area. Cool camo shorts, thank you. Barry says, hello, pack of games. Yes, the ones that look like gunpocks. Yes. We dropped the pack of games in the geocaches. That's funny. That's cool, Travis. Need to sucker newbies into playing games however I can. Like a snake made out of Celtic knots or something. Yeah, that's exactly it, and that's why I bought it. I loved the design of it. I thought it was really cool. But, so basically, unless you have any other questions, that is basically it. Confusing Lands, you can go get it pre-order on nvboardgames.com right now. $14.99 pre-order, and it should be ready by June 2024. So, as people have said here, pick up a couple copies. You can play up to 4 players, I would imagine. And that will be a cool thing. That's a great idea, actually. Never even thought about that. But even just as a 2-player game, it's really fun. I gave it 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that that this is here. And if I can't keep the prototype copy, I did have to have another content creator send it to me. So I'll probably be asked to send it to somebody else. And if that's the case, I'll probably be going to pick up a copy of it so that we can have some and keep it here in the studio. That's about it, though. We're going to skip ads here. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I think that's about it. So we sometimes combine 2 copies of just one in order to play more than 6. Works great. Yeah. Many games you can actually do that. Well, I don't know about many. A lot of games you can do that where you just combine copies of games. The only just one wouldn't be that difficult, I guess. But make sure that you only use one deck for the cards. Because then you're going to be, if you combine 2 decks, that would be difficult. That would be my only thing here. But I think the cool thing about it is that since all of the scoring conditions are numbered, you would easily be able to split apart the 2 copies of the game later on. Just make sure that you have one of each scoring condition in both decks. That's cool. Also works for Green Team wins as well. Yep. Good job. Let's see. Amusingly, my mom was at the live SNL when Buck Henry got accidentally cut in the head with Belushi doing Samurai Stockbroker. He had to wear a Band-Aid on his head all show after that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember Samurai Delicatessen, and the thing that made me crack up the most was when he was like, "Dad!" and he was like, "Yeah!" and cutting through the sandwich. just made me laugh. I'm sorry. Works in blackjack too. Yeah. And the rest of the cast followed suit and wore Band-Aids on their foreheads. It became a running joke. That's funny. That's actually funny. Man, I miss John Belushi. I wonder how the rest of his career would have been. He was something else. Something else. All right, what's next? I don't have anything next, man. That was it. I'm done with my live review of Confusing Lands, and want to point you guys over that direction. He's a good guy. I've met him. He works hard. He has a he usually has the conventions that I've seen him at. He's got a booth, and he's usually the one working the booth. He's had Love Thy Nerd helping him a couple of times, but he's been there the entire time that I can recall, at least. But Blues Brothers is a huge classic. Yep. But anyway, at the very least, go check out nvboardgames.com, see if you want to pre-order Confusing Lands. They also have all of their other games that are available there as well. So go check those out. And I'm going to get on out of here because I got to get ready to go pick up my son from school. And then we have some company coming over tonight as well. So thank you for joining me for a live review of Confusing Lands from Envyborn Games. I gave this 2 thumbs up for a fast micro game that has card tile laying in it, and I really enjoyed it. So go check it out at envyboardgames.com. You can pre-order it right now, and it'll be coming out June 2024. So thank you for joining me here. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. I'll be going live tomorrow afternoon to play a solo game. Not decided which one yet. I'll be scheduling that tonight or early tomorrow morning. Well, early for me at least. So keep your eye open for that. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.